just blew it. Nike has erased nearly $200 billion in market value as the iconic American brand stock sinks to a 12-year low. But now, not only is the WNBA screaming that, Nike is screaming that as well. Nike's stock is tanking, plunging, and the only person that can help stop this bleeding is little old Caitlin Clark. Oh, isn't it ironic? You wait 2 years to give us a logo. You wait 3 years to give us a shoe. Stock is as far down as it's been in quite some time. And the only person that can really stop the bleeding right now is a Caitlin Clark shoe release.
Nike is in trouble. Real trouble. And the company that used to tell every other brand how to run a business is now doing something it almost never does. It's begging. Not for a partnership, for Caitlin Clark to walk through the door and save a swoosh that's bleeding money in front of the entire world. Here's the part that's hard to watch without shaking your head. Nike had this answer sitting right in front of them for years. And they looked the other way until the stock chart finally forced their hand. This is a brand that's been the biggest name in sports marketing for half a century. They set trends. They don't chase them.
Trouble. Nike stock just collapsed to its lowest level since September 2014. The company is down 78% from its 21 high. It raised over $200 billion in market cap since then. Nike's literally getting cooked. The last time Nike traded around this price, Ye had basically left Nike for Adidas. Nike easily has one of the most recognizable logos in the world. You can put the Nike swoosh next to Coca-Cola and Jesus, and people will recognize all three in almost every corner of the planet. So why is the Nike stock tanking so much?
ASMR for my first shoe. My first signature shoe.
And yet here we are in 2026, watching Nike executives quietly hoping one 23-year-old point guard from Iowa can pull them out of a hole that took years to dig. Rewind back to 2023, because this is where the pattern actually starts. The WNBA itself was quietly pleading for Caitlin Clark to turn pro early, hoping she'd jump into a league that desperately needed a spark before ratings and attendance kept sliding further. League executives understood exactly what her college numbers were doing to television ratings, and they wanted that audience walking through WNBA arena doors as fast as possible. That plea worked out better than anyone dreamed. Clark turned pro in 2024, and the league got exactly what it asked for: sold-out arenas, record-breaking ratings, jerseys flying off shelves, a rookie season that changed women's basketball overnight.
That this was the time to end your college career?
Well, I think there's pros and cons to both sides, and that's what made the decision so difficult. It was almost a win-win, but at the same time a lose-lose, because I was giving up something, and I'm just kind of ready for the next chapter and a new challenge in my life. But I think the reason I decided to announce it when I did was just to have that closure, especially going into senior night.
Fans lining up for hours ahead of senior night.
Caitlin Clark!
The last regular season game for number 22, and the moment Clark would make history.
For the record, she ties it with that one. This for college basketball history.
Becoming the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history.
Caitlin Clark.
Calendar to 2026, and it isn't the WNBA pleading anymore. It's Nike, hoping the same player can bail out a completely different kind of collapse. This time, measured in billions of dollars. Nike has been in the business of building superstar signature shoes for decades. And when they want to move fast, they move very fast. Nike signed Michael Jordan in 1984, and by 1985, the Air Jordan 1 was already on shelves, reshaping sneaker culture forever. Tiger Woods turned pro in 1996, and Nike had him wearing branded gear within days, building an entire golf identity around him before his first major. LeBron James signed with Nike before he'd played a single professional game, and in less than 3 months, they designed, tested, and delivered his first signature shoe, ready for his rookie debut. That's the Nike playbook. See a star. Move immediately. Strike while the hype is boiling. So explain this part, because it genuinely doesn't add up. Caitlin Clark signed with Nike in 2022, while still at Iowa. She turned pro in April 2024, walked into the WNBA, and put together a rookie season nobody had ever seen, breaking scoring and assist records, selling out road arenas across the league.
Has been a transformational player in this league. She's been a great representative of the game. She brought in tens of millions of new fans to the game. Proud of what she's put on the court. Unfortunately, the injuries held her back from a full season this year. But again, I'm not going to get into every point, counterpoint. It's not productive here. We're here to celebrate the WNBA finals. I think what Indiana just did was amazing with all the injuries they had and the everything they faced this year, bringing that to a game 5 in overtime.
And Nike's response? They waited. They didn't unveil her signature logo until August 2025, nearly 2 full years after she'd signed. A real advertising campaign built around her, the kind Nike normally has ready before a superstar plays their first game, didn't show up until roughly 2.5 years after that original deal. 2.5 years. LeBron had a shoe on his feet before his rookie tip-off. Caitlin Clark got a logo on a t-shirt almost 2 years into her career, after she'd already rewritten record books and turned road games into the hottest ticket in town. The gap between how Nike treats its male superstars and how long it took to treat its biggest female star with that same urgency is right there in the timeline for anyone who wants to look. And here's the decision that made everything worse. Instead of rushing Clark's shoe out while the basketball world was already obsessed with her, Nike promoted Aya Wilson's signature shoe first. In May 2025, Nike released the Aone, Wilson's signature sneaker. To be fair, it moved. It sold out.
Nike, we need to talk about Caitlin Clark. Let's you and me talk about Caitlin Clark since you refuse to talk about Caitlin Clark. And I care deeply about you. I spent over a decade in your marketing organization. I spent several years trying to get into your organization. And it's been 3 years since I left your company. I'm just here as a friend. I care about you. I want to show you 2 different charts here. One, your stock price since 2021. It is down nearly 60%. Your executives and the people who are making these decisions, their stock options are worthless. Meanwhile, you have the single biggest needle mover in all of American sports since Michael Jordan, and you have somehow convinced yourself that you need to slow play this. Let me show you Google Trends search traffic for 4 female basketball players. There is one who only rivals Caitlin Clark, and that is Angel Reese, and you do not have her. She is over at Reebok. I am so confused as to how you would be so invested in the WNBA for several years, and you have been doing great work to try to elevate and uplift that league and many of the athletes there. But this seems like you have convinced yourself that this needs to be an either-or conversation. And we never have an either-or conversation in
under 5 minutes, a genuine win on its own. But context matters here, and it isn't kind to how Nike read the room. Selling out a limited run isn't the same thing as building a movement. And nothing about the Aone's launch matched the demand Clark was already generating without even having a shoe of her own. Wilson had 4 MVPs, championships, years of dominance behind her. Nike still couldn't turn that resume into demand anywhere near what a shoeless rookie was creating purely on hype. Then came the moment that should have told Nike everything. When Clark's Kobe 5 Protro Player Edition dropped, roughly 13,000 pairs vanished in under a minute. Not 5 minutes, like Wilson's shoe. Under 1 minute. Resale prices on StockX and GOAT shot up instantly, some pairs flipping for double and triple retail before the checkout confirmation emails had even landed. Search interest in Clark's shoe outpaced Wilson's by a ratio of 8-to-1 that same morning. Social media impressions for Clark's release beat Wilson's by a factor of 12 times the buzz for a player who didn't even have her actual official signature shoe out yet. Just a special player edition of somebody else's retro model. That's not a fan base at that point. That's a full-blown phenomenon. And Nike had it sitting directly in their hands the entire time, while they were busy pushing someone else's line out first, hoping it would catch fire the same way. Here's where the story stops being about one shoe and starts becoming a much bigger problem for the company as a whole. While Nike was quietly sitting on the biggest individual sports marketing opportunity of the decade, the rest of the business was not standing still. It was sliding. Nike stock had been under sustained pressure for years. weighed down by inventory issues, slowing sales in China, and a wholesale strategy that had alienated some of its biggest retail partners. Analysts covering the company kept circling the same question in earnings calls, quarter after quarter.
Is the chosen one, and you have the chosen one. He got all of the marketing, and yet you still were able to figure out how to market Kobe as well. I realize tomorrow we are going to get a Kobe Protro, apparently. I haven't heard much about it. It's going to be $190. Very few people will be able to get it, and that will be about a year after you have signed her and after she won Rookie of the Year. This is so confusing to me. I am so perplexed.
Where is the next cultural moment supposed to come from? Where is the next athlete who can actually move the needle the way Jordan did, the way LeBron did? And the frustrating part, the part that made this whole situation almost impossible to defend once people started actually laying out the timeline, is that the answer had been sitting on their own roster the entire time. Not a prospect, not a maybe. A player who is already outselling company legends in raw demand, without a signature shoe, without a real campaign, without any of the machinery Nike normally builds around a star this size. It's the kind of misstep that looks obvious in hindsight but should have been just as obvious in real time, if anyone inside the building had actually been watching the numbers instead of the org chart. Because that's really what this comes down to. Not a lack of talent to build around. Not a lack of demand waiting to be captured. A lack of urgency. At the exact moment, urgency was the one thing the company couldn't afford to be short on. So now, in 2026, Nike finds itself in a strange position of needing Caitlin Clark more than she needs Nike. The company that used to define what it meant to move fast on a superstar is now playing catch-up on a deal it already had in hand. And every quarter that campaign sits half-built is another quarter Nike spends explaining to shareholders why the swoosh let its biggest opportunity in a decade sit on the shelf, while a rival brand's fastest-growing star started to look less like a Nike athlete and more like a missed opportunity the company is still trying to make up for.
In your intro, you're personally popular to the point your signature Nike shoes, the A1s, sold out in under 5 minutes. 5 minutes. What was your initial reaction to hearing that?
It's crazy because I tried to sleep through, I wanted to sleep through the alarm. I didn't set an alarm that day. I was like, I don't want to wake up when the shoe drops. I don't want to see anything about it. And so I purposely just slept. I just was like, I'm sleeping. And then finally I woke up and it was sold out. Of course I woke up 4 minutes after the shoe drop, just because I couldn't stand to sleep in. And when I saw it, I literally just started crying only because I couldn't believe it. This was something could honestly say the A1 was one of the most anticipating shoes that we've seen in a long time. And so when it sold out, I was just bawling, crying, because I could not believe that finally this shoe is shared with the world. Finally everyone can see why it took so long and why we had to work so hard and kept it so close knit. But yeah, I was in tears because I just could not believe that people wanted the A1, which is crazy, but it's just that